All right, good afternoon, or I mean good evening, everybody. This is my recap for day 9 now on my small account options challenge. We started good, we ended up bad. The AMD that I held over the weekend, while it even gapped down, turned out good. So AMD did gap down quite a bit here. I was concerned, but at the same time, I was not. I started watching it pre-market here, started to pick up some activity, and start curling up. It immediately just shot up, shot back down, and then right back away. It took off, and I sold it on this candle here. Not quite the high of day at the time, but I just let my 10% hit. I could have got more. As you can see, it did later in the day go up even more, but 10% is my goal on this small account challenge. So I had already had the good till cancel order in, and I just let it go. I just was playing defense here to make sure it wasn't gonna go down again like it did, right when the market opened. So that was good. I made my 10%, which I believe was $15. So no problem. After that, it sort of just went downhill. Um, just a bad Monday morning for me. I ended up playing Verizon puts, and Verizon puts, and I entered Verizon at 657. So I was watching the 3-8 EMAs this time around, and at 657 is this candle here. This is the one I entered on. Now, initially when I entered it, it was red. I was playing off this huge run down. I let it bounce back up, and then this candle started to go down. It was actually red. At the break of this one is when I entered, shooting for a low of day, a break of low of day, keep going, hit this low of pre-market. It did not happen. It just went right back up, it seems, every time that happens to me. I stuck with it a little longer than I should have. I did get about 4% up here, and then it just reversed. And I finally sold it for, I believe it was like a 28% loss at 11:05. So I held it for a good amount of time. At this time, I think it was more just hopes and dreams than anything else, and I had failed my rules. So I got out 11:05, right about here in this area as it started to come down a little bit. Had I held a little longer, obviously would have got a better. Heck, it would have almost been a profit, or a break even, I should say. But didn't know that was going to happen, right? So that was a 28% loss. No big deal. $28, I think it was. 48. What did we lose here? $48. So I was down about 23 bucks after that trade, and that's where I should have stopped after that big loss, but I didn't. I actually ended up, while Verizon was still open, trading Square. And I jumped in Square also for puts at 715. So I was watching it here, and I actually, looking back, I shouldn't have did this trade at all. This was more of a lotto trade, higher risk. I wanted to play the bounce down, and at 715 I entered it. This candle is actually red. My HMAs actually gave me a better indication to enter. So I entered at the break of this candle when it was down here for a put, but it turned right back around and went up, and it kept going up. Now, I actually did not get out while it did break Friday's close 2 times. I did not get out. I actually liked it a little bit here as it just consolidated. It stayed sideways for just about the whole day here. As you can see, it really didn't move. The reason I didn't get out is I kind of like the daily chart. It ran up, it consolidated a few days here, it opened lower. Even though it was green, it did open lower. Starting to get the curve on my EMAs. The volume is also decreasing, so I'm taking the chance of a put trade on this, and I'm not well, clearly I did not exit for the loss that I currently do have. Now I am watching this one carefully, as it is more higher end trade. I do have a little bit more of my cash into this trade. The one thing that does concern me is aftermarket. It did jump up to almost the high a day again after hours, so I'm going to be watching this one carefully, and I won't let it get too far away from me. If it does break this pre-market, and when market opens, I most likely will just shut it, get the loss out, and deal with it. Square has been pretty bullish lately anyways, but like I said, I am watching this curve here, and anticipation that it's going to go down. But we will see. The RSI is starting to curve down. We're just barely above 50. Like I said, the volume has been getting lower. I got the curve on my EMAs. It did gap down, even though it did stay a green. So, like I said, we're shooting for a red day tomorrow. And depending on how it acts, I may hold it another day. I just don't want to see it cross this line right here. If it crosses that line, I will get out. I am actually pretty upside down already, 33%, but it's $76, and on this small account challenge, that's a lot of money to be risking right now, and holding on to is just eating up my funds. So I won't risk losing much more than this. So we're just going to go ahead and watch this one very carefully. All right. The next one I entered was U.S. Steel. I played this one at 9:51 here. So like I said, I played this at 9:51. Off at the time was the high of the day, and it had then just dropped down and tested the 8 EMA, and that, do I have this? That's where I entered, is the bounce off the 8 EMA. So then it continued sideways a little bit and pulled back and shot up to high a day. This was, I think, about 7.5% gain, and looking back, I should have just took that, but again, I was going for 10%, so I did not get out. Steel has been pretty good to me lately. The daily chart's not the greatest. It's been consolidating in the last couple of days, not really going anywhere. So I didn't alert it in chat, but I did average down on this one. I went at the end of the day and bought it again about 20 minutes before close. So average down a little bit. I won't be needing it to jump back as high tomorrow to get my 10%, but I'm still fairly confident in this stock. And then I did place one more trade. See where I'm going with this over trading. I got back into AMD. I alerted this in chat that it was going to be an overnight hold. So I went and got in about half hour before close. Really wish I would have waited a little bit longer, not knowing that the market was going to pull back a little bit. But I got in at 12:29. So I had seen it coming up after its large pullback from the high a day before, and I entered, and I was going for a hold into tomorrow, to get maybe more than 10%, maybe a gap up something, give me a little bump in my account here. So, and then the market pulled back. So I wish I'd waited just a little bit longer, and I could have got a much better fill. However, aftermarket, it did show a little bit of signs of life and has started to return up. Assuming everything goes well, I think this trade will be a good trade into tomorrow. It does have a tendency of running in the morning. So if I can get a good run up in the morning, I'm looking for maybe 10, 20, 30% gain on this trade. That being said, we are still up on the challenge, but we are down, currently open $155. So I got 3 risky trades out there. 2 look like they are in my favor. Square is my concerned one. It's also my most expensive one. So I'll be watching this carefully at the open. Make sure we don't get beat up too much. So that's where I'm at. There's a good lesson. Do not overtrade. You'll get put in one heck of a pickle. And we'll recover from this, but it's a big hit. And hopefully, day 10 will be a much better day. Thank you, and I'll see you all in chat.